everyone, welcome back to another great episode of Rehana's Cuisines. Today we are going to be making chilas. Chilas are more like crepes. They are more on a savory version. If you want to see the sweet version, comment below. I'll do a video for that. But this one here is my father-in-law's favorite, and I don't know why I haven't done this in the past, but he requested these, and so I thought, since I'm making them, let me do a video. These are very high protein crepes, and they are savory, so very simple ingredients. I'm going to show you how to do this. Let's get started. So in the bowl here I have 2 cups of gram flour, which is chana nulot or chana flour or chickpea flour. In here I have water. I'm not going to tell you right now exactly what the amount I have, because we're going to mix it, we're going to see. But then again, all chickpea flours are different. All flours are different, period. So whenever you're mixing stuff, you just kind of have to eyeball it, but we will mix this together, so I'll let you know. Here I have half a teaspoon of fresh ginger and garlic. I have 1/4 of a teaspoon of onion powder. I'm going to be using 1 teaspoon of lemon pepper. In the beginning I will give it a taste test and add if I need to. I have here half a teaspoon of turmeric. I have a tablespoon of my sambal, which is the chili garlic sauce. And then here I have about half a cup of fresh chopped cilantro. You can, decide how much you want to put in there. It's all up to you. I have salt to taste. We're also going to be adding a little bit of olive oil inside, about a tablespoon of it. And then we're going to be using the rest when we start making the crepes. So let's get started. First thing we're going to do is start adding our water in it slowly. Now this is where people will make a mistake, where they'll add a lot of water, or they'll take the flour and add it to the water, and that's what makes the dough very clumpy. Now, you don't want to make it lumpy at all, and this is the way you want to do it. Is just, you see how it's just pulling things in, and as soon as you see that it's getting a little thick, you can add a little bit more water in it, and again keep on stirring until everything is combined. And you will see once we get it all done how it's going to be super smooth, silky dough. So look at this. Look at how beautiful this dough is, or this batter is. Now this is more like a cake batter, which is pretty thick. So we're going to add a bit more water in that, and we're going to mix it up. And now another thing I wanted to mention is some people add onions in there, but I don't like to add the onions in there. That's why I do onion powder. But if you wanted to, you could completely really make tiny pieces of those onions, like chop them up real good, and you can add that in there. Again, I feel like it's still a bit thick, so we're going to add just a bit more in there. And the batter has to be more like, see, where it's flowing, but it's not super thick. So now we're ready to mix everything in there. Let's go ahead and add our ginger garlic goes in, onion powder goes in, sambal goes in. Now, again, I'm going to do a half of the lemon pepper in here. I'm going to do a taste test before I add all of it in there. Turmeric goes in. And then the salt to taste is going to go in as well. Now, if you wanted to add cayenne in it, or anything more spicy, you can. I don't want to make it very spicy for him, so I'm not putting any chilies in there. Go ahead and add our cilantro in here, as much or as little as you like. And I know he loves the cilantro, so all of it goes in. Okay, we're going to let this dough rest for about 10 minutes. After we let that rest, we're going to check it one more time if it has thickened up or not, or if we needed to add any more water in it. This is the time I'm going to do my taste test, and I'm going to add all my lemon pepper in there. You know I like my food very like super like tasty. So this is why I added the lemon pepper. Now, If you are in a state or in a country where you don't get the lemon pepper, go ahead and add some lemon juice in it, lemon zest, and a little bit of pepper, and you're good to go. Oh yeah, it tastes really, really good. So now I'm gonna cover it up, come back after 10 minutes, and then we're gonna see what this looks like. All right, everyone. So the first one is always gonna be our trial. Let's see. The batter looks like it's thickened up just a little bit, which is okay because I wanna do the trial first. So I can show you if your batter is thicker, what it's gonna look like. Okay, let's go ahead, turn our stove on. It's gonna go on medium-low. I'm gonna add about a teaspoon of oil inside of it. Yeah, I feel like it's a little bit thick, but we'll see. And this one also, so as far as the water, I don't know if we're gonna add a little bit more in there or not, but I have used about, I would say about 1.5 I've used, 1.5 cups, a little bit more than 1.5 cups. Nice and hot. I'm gonna add just a little bit of our olive oil in there. I use olive oil in all my cooking. We're used to the taste, and it's not very, very strong in taste. After you do your first one, you'll really honestly get the idea. Okay, what I'm looking for is a thin crepe. And I like using a smaller frying pan. It's just easier so that they're all one shape. But it's really up to you how you want to do it. So once this comes out, we'll be able to tell if we need to thin our batter or not. Now these are thin. They're not going to take very long to cook up. The way you're going to know to flip this is you're going to see already on the sides. Can they see that? Already on the sides, it has started drying up just like a pancake. And once we know that we don't have any runny batter on top, this is the time that we can flip it. I'm not adding too much, just a little bit. It's almost all dry. So at this time, I'm gonna flip it. Now, when I flip it, it's a bit thick for my liking. Some people like it paper thin, some people like it a little bit thicker. I think I'm midway here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna add just a little bit more water. Okay. And again, these are not gonna take long to cook at all because they are so thin, but I'm just gonna wait just a little bit. These are great for people that have gluten insensitivity. My daughter was gonna love it. This is something that they can eat. It's really, really delicious. You could add whatever you want in there. You can top it off with cheese. You could add my red chutney in the middle. I mean, this is really, really delicious. This is great with morning breakfast. Now see all that, it's a little brown. I don't want to cook it too much because I don't want it too brown, but I think this is perfect. So I'm going to take this out, and yes, I'm using a small little spatula here because I love it. It's from the dollar store. I'm going to lower that just a little bit. Add just a little bit oil. Let's just add 1 spoon and see how that goes. And we've thinned out the batter as well. So see, now you're getting more of an idea that 1.5 scoops is gonna be much better. So you're gonna start playing around with this when you're making this at home. And I'm showing you all these different techniques because I want you to know exactly how to do it. And when I just pick it up on this end and feel it, yes, this is exactly where I want it. It's not very thick. It's a little bit thinner than the one that we made, but I like it like that. So that's how, and again, it had dried up very, very quickly. So we're gonna flip it. And this here tells me that the heat is a little bit high, so I'm gonna lower that. Okay, I'm gonna let this cook. Peek on the bottom just a little bit, and then you're gonna repeat the process. I'll do one more, and then I'll finish these. We'll come back and we'll do a taste test. And right after this, I'm gonna go make my red chutney because my homemade red chutney is delicious. So I'll make sure that I put a link up on the right hand side of your screen so that you can make it as well. It's just a delicious, delicious chutney. Okay. Now, when you also put the oil, don't put too much. You just want a dab. That's it. Okay. Now we're going to do the 1.5. Let's see how that goes. I think I'm going to get more of a nice rounded coverage here. Yep. So you see how once you do it, you're just going to need a little bit of patience. And then your crepes are going to be all one size. If you're diabetic like me, just because it doesn't have gluten doesn't mean that you can have a whole bunch of these. Chickpea flour in itself is a high carb, although it's a very good carb. But when you're diabetic, it doesn't matter if you're going to have good carb or bad carb. Carb is going to be carb. It's going to raise your sugar. So if it was me, I would probably have one and then watch my sugar. So just because it's gluten-free doesn't mean that your sugar is not going to spike up. So I just wanted to mention that. Okay, so this is done. What I'm going to do is I'm going to complete all of them. We'll come back and do a taste test. So with a cup of chai and your favorite chutney, this is delicious. I'm going to take the thinnest one because I like it like that. And you just dip it in the chutney. Yeah. Really, really good. I wish I could have more of these. Obviously, I don't, just because I'm really careful with my diabetes. But it really hits the spot, really does. So if you have anybody that's gluten-free, if you have anybody that's older, seniors, it's really easy for them to chew. This is an amazing dish. So that's all for today. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode of Rehana's Cuisines. Hope you can join me here next time with another great video. See you then, friends.